Today we're going to record season 3, episode 9 of the show. And I am Barb, one of your co-hosts, and I am joined by Matt.
Hey guys.
We just want to say that if you're enjoying the show, please remember to like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. It's very important that you help us grow the podcast. We're loving doing it, and we hope you're loving listening. So,
All right. And we also got to give a shout out to the official Psych Fanatics, a Facebook group. Great group, moderated. I think 11,000 plus users right now. And also the Psych subreddit. So if you're looking for a group to, see psych related topic conversations, posts, check out one of those. The Reddit now has like 70,000 users. So
that's
check out
huge.
there. We have a lot of listeners from both these groups. So check them out. And I think we've also got a couple emails in. Barb, do you want to go first?
Sure. All right. So this first email is from Wendy Harvey. Wendy happens to be my sister and Matthew's mom. So we're gonna read this. She had listened to the podcast of There Might Be Blood. So she's got some issues with this. She says, "Hey guys, love the show. Per the comments on the sibling rivalry, I really do not feel Barb and I have as big an issue as it sounds. Maybe more so when we were younger. To be fair, anyone who does an escape room with Barb and Matt knows that if you do not grab things from them, you will not get to do anything, as they tend to take over and dominate the room. I think..."
Dominate the room, I think, is the key part there.
That's right.
That's right. We destroy it.
That's right, because we get out. Okay, so then she goes on to say, "I think all three of us can be very competitive when it comes to games or puzzles, but it is all in fun. This episode was okay for me too. I agree with Matt at how Chief Vic totally nailed it in her role as little sis. However, I don't feel the story was as difficult to follow as you seemed to make it. Though after filling in for Matt and doing a show with you, analyzing it versus just watching for fun is more difficult and can lend your focus to various elements that shift from the plot. You guys make me laugh each week, and despite being family, I look forward to each new episode. Wendy Harvey, have a blessed day." So thank you, Wendy. That was very, very funny.
Yeah, no, I hope that our joke didn't come off as depicting you guys as aggressive. It definitely is all in good fun, but there is definitely some competitive aggression that comes up when we do these things. So
absolutely, 100%. And it is like there's a lot of love there. It's not like, we're like mean to each other. It's not like that. But we definitely both have that competitive thing happening. And Matthew, when you and I go into an escape room, it's just not acceptable to not get out. So if someone is impeding that and stopping that from happening, I'm not taking that.
Well, we have tried to bring people in before, and they've let us down. They've missed things that they should have checked, and that really slowed down the whole experience. And trust gets lost in those
get in the way of our
situations.
process, because we clearly think about things very well together, and sometimes having other people lose something there because we're not communicating with each other as much in it.
Yeah.
But we get out, you guys. We get out. We have a really good record. Just saying. Anyway,
but thanks
for
for messaging in. And as far as the plot of the episode goes, I think I understand it more now. With that episode, the plot being that she was trying to prove herself, so she was purposely digging and misleading her family by digging in a specifically dangerous location. It wasn't in order to cause anything to break or anything harm. It was specifically just like they thought something was there, but it was too dangerous there for everybody else, and they took the risk. I guess I just don't like it. I guess I'd see it as like a super interesting plot.
I agree.
Thank you for messaging in and letting us know.
Yes, thank you.
We had a chance to plead your case.
That's right. It is only fair. It's only fair.
And the next comment we got is from our YouTube post, the YouTube video from Michael Holst again.
Okay.
This one was also on There Might Be Blood. And here it is. This is one of the most forgettable episodes in the series. Not terrible, I
Yes.
guess. It has funny moments and a lot of the favorite bits, but is overall subpar compared to Psych as a whole. Especially since, as you two pointed out, this is a case heavy episode and the case is confusing and not that interesting, in my opinion.
Hmm.
I agree with Barb and feel generous in giving it 2 pineapple rating. If
Nice.
Gus is a table wasn't in this episode, it would be a 1 pineapple episode. When he says Gus is a statue, I die every time. I love that. Gus is a table. Gus is a statue.
Yeah,
Michael, thank you for messaging it again, and that we completely agree with your post on this. Yeah.
absolutely. I find that like if you weren't around for me to do a podcast with, Michael would be awesome because
Oh
his
yeah.
comments are always so good. He's always so detailed and like yeah, just kind of spot on for me. So yeah, awesome, Michael. Thank you.
Let's get into this week's episode. This week we're going to be talking about season 3, episode 9, titled "Christmas Joy." It first aired in November 28th of 2008, and the writers were Steve Franks and Saladin K. Patterson, with our director being John Landis. I think Landis is a new one.
No,
No, he's not.
no, and this
Okay.
is exciting. No, wait, because you're gonna kick yourself when I tell you about this. So John Lit well, first of all, let's address the writers. Steve Franks, Saladin K. Patterson. We both are very familiar with these guys. They have written a bunch of episodes now. And Saladin K. Patterson's the one who brought back the Wonder Years. He's the showrunner for the new Wonder Years with Dule. So
Okay.
he's done a lot. But John Landis, we like this director. He directed 3 total episodes of the show. First one was Scary Sherry, Bianca's Toast. Second one was American Duos. And this one. Because those other 2 episodes were so great, I've got super high hopes for this one. You might also know this director, though, from directing a lot of really classic 80s movies. So like Animal House, Blues Brothers, Trading Places, Spies Like Us, Coming to America, and also on TV, he directed some episodes of Franklin and Bash. Comedy is definitely his strong suit. This is where he's supposed to be. So I have very high hopes for this episode because I loved the other 2 that he did so much.
Mhm. All right. So this episode kind of has 2 parts going on. A little girl asks Sean and Gus to help get Santa out of jail. They get Santa out, then realize Santa and the girl are con men planning a big heist. Gus's sister, Joy, is in town, and she wants to see Sean romantically. Again.
All right, so we've got some history in this one.
So I know right off the bat that I remember this one. I like it because it is
Mhm.
an episode where we get to see more. We get some background by being part of families or Gus's family again, which I love. It's also a themed Christmas episode, which I
Yes.
love.
Oh,
So
we're gonna get a new theme
good.
song. We're gonna get a Christmas theme song, Matt.
That's true. That's true. That's true.
Yes, I love when the theme song changes. Okay, this is very exciting. Very exciting. All right, let's get into the episode. Poor Sean. Like, here he is, a kid, excited. It's Christmas morning. And he goes downstairs, and all he wants to do is see what he has gotten. He wants to check out the presents, see what Santa brought, whatever. And Henry says, I know you're excited, I know your adrenaline's pumping, but I need you to recreate everything that went down here last night. It's like, it's not enough that he has had to be good to get the presents. But now he has to do some sort of investigation before he can get them.
Hmm.
You gotta feel bad for little Sean. You just got to.
I do, but I have 2 things here. So the first thing
Okay.
is, how the heck does Sean believe in Santa Claus? How is that even
Right.
possible? Uh,
Right. And no, I get that. I totally get that. Yeah, I get that.
I yeah, I mean, I would set traps when I was a kid to catch Santa. like tripwires. I set like
Okay.
heavy things in front of the door. Like I put video cameras up. Like I you know, I knew something was sketchy when I was a kid. How
Right.
does Sean? I don't know. So that's just being
It's a good
nitpicky and
point.
dumb. It's being nitpicky and dumb, but I
No,
just
it's a good point,
it's part
actually.
of our job here
Right.
is to do this.
That's right.
The next thing is whenever Henry sits down and tells Sean to like tell him what happened here last night, we see that this is kind of a game for Henry too, because like he sets it up. Like he put these obvious like footprints out of like I don't even know what he did with it necessarily, but they're very clear footprints across the floor coming from the chimney,
Mhm.
and like that's like the first thing he sees, and he sets up and he eats. Like he has it sitting in front of the couch. He has the milk and cookies eaten and drank, and then over to the presents. Like he set up this whole scenario, and Henry likes doing it too.
Oh, see, Sean, he really busted Sean.
And this is why. So apparently, so he set this scenario to where the footprints then ran outside, like out the window, instead of going up the chimney, because Sean woke up earlier and was like snooping around. So Henry didn't get the time to play Santa correctly. So that was his like punishment or acknowledgement that he was being sneaky. But I think that that was a very touching moment. I think that's very cool because
Yeah.
it's a single Henry. It's you know uh,
He's trying
pre
to
his
be
mom
Christmas
leaving,
special.
and he made like he decorated the whole house. He had a bunch of presents there. It's a good dad. It
Mhm.
was a good moment. But now we are a minute and 20 seconds in, and we are in current time. And Sean is coming into the psych office with Gus, and he's got a bunch of Christmas decorations. We find out that they're heading over to Gus's parents' house for Christmas.
Wait. We just had wait. No. So Sean is unloading a box of things, of Christmas game things, and at 1 minute, 28 seconds, he pulls out the portrait that he had painted in the Lodge episode. It's in the box. I think is he gonna give it as a gift?
Yeah, he says picking up the perfect gifts are very difficult.
That's awesome.
Pineapple sighting.
Pineapple.
1 minute, 32 seconds. One of the gifts that he pulls out of his box is a pineapple with a bow on it. Classic pineapple sighting. And at 1 minute, 47 seconds, that's when we find out that his sister Joy is coming in town. She's a attorney. She travels the entire world uh, for her job.
Gus just wants to spend time with her.
Yeah.
As much time as possible.
And this is when our case gets started. While they're talking, a little girl comes into the psych office with a request. Oh,
Oh, Gus nickname. Man, they're hitting everything right off the bat here. Scrooge Jones. We have a Scrooge Jones. The little girl comes into the psych office, asks if Sean is Mr. Psych. He says, I'm Mr. Sean, and this is Scrooge Jones.
a little girl came into the psych office. Her name was Brittany. And she said that Santa was taken out of Santa's village and arrested by the cops. And she wants to hire Sean and Gus to get him out so that he can deliver presents in time. And all she has to offer is like $1.37. The guys try to tell her no, but she ends up crying and gets the sympathetic vote. I think next, yep, we're headed over to Gus's house, and we have our guest stars. With starting out with their parents, we have Felicia
Felicia
Rashad,
Rashad.
who's returning as
Mhm.
Winifred Guster. I forgot her name, Winifred. And then we also have Keith David filling in as Mr. Guster. Now, when we first meet the Gusters again, and Joy for the first time, um, uh, Joy is very skeptical of the psychic detective agency that they've started, and she's when they apparently told her already about how that both of Gus's parents were accused of murder previously last season. So she does know that they do work, like they do some things, but she's skeptical. And she asks some questions about the origin of the Psychic Detective Agency. She gets all lawyery on him, and it's a fun little scene.
Their body language is like they're caught. Like, it's weird.
Oh, it does also need to be noted this episode that Gus's dad does have to leave early because he has to work.
And yeah, and he has to work the late shift too for Raytheon making government planes.
Everybody kind of, the dad leaves,
Let's
mom
get a
goes in the other
timestamp
room,
here.
and Gus is like starts taking Joy's bags upstairs, leaving just Joy and Sean downstairs alone. And around 5 minutes 39 seconds, we see Sean and Joy just jump on each other.
And then here it comes, here it comes. No, do not fast forward through this.
And this is when we get our Christmas themed Psych introduction.
Guys, I love it. There are, like, snowflakes falling. There are okay, I'm gonna give you a little bit of background here. Like, it is the end of February, and I am still watching recorded Christmas movies almost daily. While I do other things in the house, like I'll have Christmas movies playing as I'm falling asleep. I'll have Christmas movies playing. I love Christmas. And so I like when they change the theme song and when they make it the Christmassy one. It gives me all the Christmassy feels. Love it. Now, after the theme song, Sean and Joy have made their way over to the couch like they're just full on making out.
And they're not being very sneaky about it. I
No.
mean, they're trying to be, but like, they could come back down at any point.
And we find out here that Gus never knew
Yeah.
that he would be crushed. He says, "For Gus's sake, we have to fight it."
From this scene, she wants things to start up again while she's here, and Sean wants to not crush Gus. But Gus, knowing what's going on, invites Joy to essentially tag along on the case to see her. At 10 minutes, Sean has come to the police station with Gus and Joy. They've introduced her to the chief. They've done some chit chat stuff, and then Juliet takes them downstairs to where they can see the Santa that was arrested, and that's the reason they're here. They end up. Sean does his little vision thing, and he sees some details on both of the people that were involved, and is able to determine that the Santa Claus was actually defending himself and he was not the aggressor, and that way that case is solved. The guy who did start the fight ended up saying it and admitting to it, and they essentially were able to get Santa Claus out.
After their good work at the holding cell, they find Lassie sitting talking to Gus's sister.
And Gus gets very aggro. Man, he gets on him. Yeah, so
Uh-huh.
Gus interrupts their conversation between Lassiter and Joy, and he's like, "What's the deal with you and people's sisters? First Vic's, then mine? And aren't you still married?" Gus is bringing the heat when it comes to
Yeah,
protecting his sister.
Lassie's like, "We were just having a conversation." Gus was not having it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we get Dobson. Is this our first Dobson?
Mhm.
I think it is our first Dobson, if I'm not
I
mistaken.
think so too. Yeah, I think so too.
Now, this does present an opportunity for Joy to stand up for herself, and she's like, I can do whoever I want to. It doesn't matter. You don't have to approve of them. Gus is not having that.
That was a little scary.
At about 12 minutes after they leave the police station, Sean gets a call and finds out that his apartment his elusive apartment that we never see
Exactly.
is infested with fleas. So he ends up staying with the Gusters, including Joy, who's there.
Well, as a result of Joy's invitation.
Yeah. At this point, we also see that the Santa Claus that was arrested was let out of jail, and he is there with the little girl, Brittany, that came to the psych office, and she's chewing him out. And that's when they find out that she is a con artist, and so is her father, most likely.
Yeah, and she's like, "Now we only have 3 days left. Don't screw up again."
Yeah, something's going on. The guys have resolved the little girl's case, the one they originally got hired for. But now they have this new lead that something's happening in a few days, and they wanted to look into this guy to figure out what's going on, what's he planning.
And I
And
think
this
they're a
leads
little
them,
bitter that they got taken advantage of.
yeah, yeah, definitely Sean is. This leads them back to the Santa's, it's like a theme park or Santa's Village that he was originally arrested from. And they're going there to see if maybe they can find a clue as to what the big con is. And this guy is back here in the Santa suit, just going back to normal. So Sean and Gus they get the guy, private area, and they just come out and say, "We know you got a con on the 14th. What's going on? We want to know what's happening."
On the 24th.
Then, he ends up conning them. He screams and then runs out of the room. And as they follow him, they come out into a public area, and it makes them look very suspicious. They then get, thrown into Santa's village jail.
But not before Sean notices some information, because all of the photos that they've been taking, they're asking people for home addresses and stuff for, and he just noticed that on the screen, the computer.
So we are 15 minutes, 45 seconds in, and we've returned back home. It's
Gus's
nighttime.
house is huge.
It is. And I love downstairs. It's got like this dark hardwood all over the walls too.
Mhm.
Looks like a nice place.
It looks like a hotel hallway.
Sean is trying to go to sleep, but he can't stop thinking about Joy, and Joy's, thinking about Sean, and it's this fun little scene where people are going in and out of doors.
It's the classic 80s, let's just keep the camera on the hallway and watch people go in and out of doors in the wrong rooms.
Yeah, like at the wrong time,
Yeah, this happened in many, many an 80s movie.
Yep.
So
Now,
Sean
Sean,
starts looking through other places of the house in his quest to find her and makes his way into the garage. And we are at about 18 minutes here. He turns on he's in the garage, and then all of a sudden Gus's dad walks in the garage and turns on the light. And Sean's about to find out some information here.
this place is huge.
Uh-huh.
This place is so big.
Yeah,
This is
and
such
you know
a
what?
nice
That's actually
house.
not the garage, it's the basement.
Yeah,
That's the
yeah, it's
basement.
underneath the house. They've got they've
Mhm.
got so much space.
Mhm. It's a massive house, and I'm gonna try that again. And in the basement, there are like lawn chairs set up, and a TV, and a lamp, and that sort of thing down there.
It's like a table with cards on it, and for like
Mhm.
solitaire, it looks like. So yeah, he's been spending time down here. And Sean points out that he should not be home. He's supposed to be at work right now. What's he doing? Mr. Guster gets a little evasive.
And he's still in his suit, by the way.
Sean starts to read Mr. Guster, and he's doing his hand to the head, and and Mr. Guster starts like physically like dodging and like ducking
Like you're in the
around.
boxing ring. He saw him in a movie theater.
And we find out at 19 minutes 20 seconds, we find out that Mr. Guster lost his job a month ago, and he's been trying to find a new job in the meantime.
And he
And
didn't
he
want
kind
to
of
tell
just
his
leaves.
family.
Yeah, like he
Yeah,
comes down here or he goes to movies and stuff, to make people think that he's still going out for work.
He didn't want to upset them at Christmas time. Well, he and also Mr. Guster makes Sean pretty much promise not to say anything to anyone.
Oh, and we subtly find out that Sean and Joy had a little get together after his interaction with Gus's dad.
I don't think they did.
Yeah, he just
I
said.
think he's referring not getting a lot of sleep. Not about them two, but about the fact that he was like talking to Mr. Guster and stuff. He wasn't sleeping.
That was like a 5-second call, like talk. Like
I don't know.
I don't know if it's gonna keep you up at night.
I don't
But
know.
I do want to note this. So at 20 minutes 17 seconds on the bookshelf behind Gus, we see a Psych snow globe.
Yes, we
And it
do.
looks like it has like Psych in it. It's got maybe like a big pineapple behind it or something.
Yes.
It doesn't look like the same one that Henry got though.
No, it's
And,
definitely not. That one
and
was just they had a picture in it.
if you kind of look at it, it looks like on the left side of the pineapple is a little figure of Sean, and on the right side might be a little figure of Gus. But I
And there's
don't
like a little banner
think.
going across the front that says Psych, but
Yeah.
it has a nice wooden base.
Yeah, that's actually really cool. I don't think
Yeah.
I've noticed that before. I
I'd
want to
like to
better
find
look at
one of
it.
those. I want
Yeah, I
one.
would like one. Yeah, me too. You know what would be cool is a clear acrylic bowling ball like that
Yes.
with like a pineapple in the middle. That would be pretty cool. But the guys end up going back to Santa's village, and they need to get somebody on the inside to get some more information. And they end up taking Joy, who applies to be one of the Santa girls, I
Elves.
guess the elves, yeah.
Mhm. Santa's helpers, yeah.
Why do they have, like, everybody's application here, though? So, when they come out of the hiring office, Sean comes up next to Joy, and the woman who I guess did the interview, has, like, a folder filled with, all of the applications. I don't Why would she have these out here? This feels like a convenient clue, in my opinion. Um,
Well, maybe she just
yeah,
keeps all the people she has working for her in one folder so she can easily refer
that's
to them. I don't
like
know.
a lot of people, but
Not necessarily.
regardless,
It's a seasonal job.
they find out his name, or they find out the person who referred him, the name of the person who referred him. All right, so around the 21-minute mark, they go back to Santa's village to, pick up Joy after her shift ended. Yeah, she says Carl was a great Santa. He asked the kids questions like what they want, what they like, where they're visiting family at, and then this, sparks something off in Sean's head, and he remembers that they collect all the information about like addresses and whatnot and where they live. He thinks that they're essentially Carl and Ted, the security guard, are working together to figure out what houses to rob based on where they live and which kids said that they were going out of town. So they then have something else to investigate.
Sean keeps getting busted looking at Joy too.
But this is enough for Sean to call Juliet and Lassiter. And they get there and start looking around, and nothing really seems to be happening. So while they're looking around, they come across a nativity scene, and it's like a life-size one. And they have like all the characters there, and Joy notices that one of the wise men is not black, Balthazar, as it should be. But Sean remembers that when he was here earlier that day that there was a black wise man there. And he goes over and inspects the one that's been switched, and there is Ted.
There is Ted, and Ted is dead.
Nope. Nope. But Sean screams at the top of his lungs, "Jewel and Lassie come back," and they have a body now. So now that this is a real case, the chief has called them in to hire them. Around 25 minutes after they have essentially been put on the case by the chief, Carlton says that Carl has information, but he'll only talk to Sean and Gus. And when they go in there to interrogate him, they find out that he did admit that Ted was his inside man, and he is saying that him and Ted are just con men. They just rob people. They don't do anything violent. It's not him, and he's worried that if he works with the police, that they're not going to protect him if somebody comes after him. Because if someone came after Ted, they're most likely coming after him too.
And they're
And he's
also
worried
gonna go
about
after his
Brittany.
daughter.
Yeah, yeah, they're worried about. He's also worried about Brittany because he doesn't want her to go back into the system, I guess.
And then during the questioning, we do see a very familiar tactic. So when they are not like biting with what he's saying,
Yeah, they don't
he's
trust him. Yeah,
crying like Brittany did.
like ugly face crying.
Mhm.
And I think this might be our first instance of Gus being a sympathetic crier. 26 minutes, 35 seconds in, Gus is sitting across from Carl at the table, and he starts breaking down too.
He says, "Sean, you know I can't take it when a grown man cries." Mhm.
That might be my favorite. That's definitely one of my favorite bits. Even after Carl has turned off the waterworks, Gus is still, trying to compose himself.
Yeah, he's struggling. But they do get some information that Carl and
Ted,
Ted owed somebody some money, and they find out who it
bookie.
is, like a bookie, and this bookie, he does come clean with them and tells them which bars this bookie works at. So that is where they're headed now.
Now, when they get to the bar, this guy Frank is just set up shop in one of the booths. He's got his little mini office. But Sean sits down with him and talks about him. So as they talk, we're about 28 minutes, 20 seconds in. Sean, his theory is that this guy, the bookie,
Frank is
essentially
his name.
came to collect debts from Ted. And when Ted didn't have the money, he killed him. And he's saying, like, that's not really how we do things. If he's dead, I'm never going to get my money. So it kind of throws a wrench into Sean's theory. He also has an alibi since he was at the bar all of last night. But when he gets up to leave, he bumps into Gus's mom, who is approaching the booth with an envelope full of money. We find out that she thought that she had a guaranteed thing, like insider information here, and she made a bet, and it ended up not working out, and she lost her Christmas money. But she doesn't want to tell anybody.
And once again, Sean is in an awkward position because she has said, "Please don't tell anybody about this."
Mhm.
He does tell her that he's pretty sure that Gus's dad will not be upset that she's kept a secret. There is no possible way that the house that they have depicted as Gus's house or Gus's parents' house, there's no possible way that the one on the outside matches what is on the inside of that house.
I
It
really
is
like it. Wait, you
way
don't
too
think
small
so?
on the outside. No, that house is way too small on the inside or on the
I don't
outside to
I
have
don't
think
know.
about the hallway upstairs. It goes
Yeah,
there's
but the
2 different
hallway
directions of the like, on the
right, and it
ends.
could lead down the middle. The camera could
No,
be over there where the chimney is on
no,
the 2nd floor.
absolutely
Ye
not. There is
I don't know.
no way
Mm-mm.
in heck that is the
I
same house.
disagree.
No,
I think
no,
that it's,
they did not do a good job continuity-wise on the outside and inside of this. The interior and exterior do
so the
not
shot we're talking about is
no.
at 30 minutes, 10 seconds. If you check that out, let us know what you think. I think that it could definitely be the house.
Mm-mm.
With good camera
Nope.
placement, they could have done
Nope,
it.
nope, nope, absolutely not.
I think that's some more pineapple.
I think I saw one too, but what is that?
It's some kind of monkey bread with, like, pineapple on top.
Angel food cake, maybe?
Uh,
Oh, it looks like angel food cake with pineapples on it. So now it is, 31 minutes, and we find out where well, Gus's mom kinda comes clean. She tells him all the whole family that she has placed a bet, and she lost, and they end up cracking up laughing because 'cause they're like, "When he placed a bet?" I mean, they're so surprised by it. One less secret Sean has to keep. And of course, Gus's dad's being very forgiving, given that he's got a secret too. And then he comes clean about losing his job. But the Guster family just all come together and they understand and it's good. And then they have Sean take part in the group hug. Uh-oh, now we now we're at 32 minutes, 33 seconds, and Joy decides she wants to come clean about something to the family as well. Sean's like, "No, no, no." Keep going.
yeah, no, and he's like, "No,
No,
no, no,
he's
no,
shaking his head, "No,
please don't."
please." And that one piece of information just changed the whole feeling in the house. Now everybody's mad.
I love her reaction. So, Gus's family temporarily explodes, um, and everybody is also mad at Sean, and everybody goes into a different room, and Sean is just left standing there by himself. Hey, we get some of Henry. We're at 34
Yay!
minutes, 12 seconds. And Henry has some sort of party or poker night or something going on.
I think it's his I think it's his Christmas party.
Pineapple
Wait, 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 go back.
right there.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, there's a three-tiered or two-tiered server sitting
So hold on.
in
34 minutes, 45 seconds. We have our second pineapple. I don't know. I think that on top of that bread that they had at the Christmas
it
morning,
yeah,
there
that
might
was
have been some
pineapple
pineapple rings.
yeah, there was I think this is pineapple number 3, and
Okay.
this is on the top of a three-tiered server that is in back of Henry on the counter. It's like a wooden carved pineapple on the top of it.
It
It's
looks
very
exactly like something
pretty.
you would find at like a thrift store.
It's pretty I kinda like it. I think it's really pretty. Cute. It's got character. But once again, Henry has words of wisdom that apply to the case.
Hmm.
He's explaining to Sean, can you pause it? He's explaining to Sean that partners have a certain kind of trust and that Sean really didn't do the right thing by fooling around with Gus's sister because not only is he his friend, he's his partner. And there's a different kind of trust there, and Sean has betrayed that trust. But that makes Sean start to think about the partnership that Carl and Ted had. and what happened there. So Sean's thinking of something. Once again, Henry comes in. Henry comes in with these little words of wisdom that help Sean solve the case. I love that.
At 35 minutes, we get a little interaction with
Oh,
Juliet.
oh, 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 oh. Did you hear that? Did you?
So he tells her, like, they have this little moment where it's just them going over details. Then he tells her that him and Gus are fighting, and it turns into like this, like high school thing. Like, oh, what happened? Oh no, what happened? And he tells her that he had a fling with his sister like 10 years ago, and Juliet reacts negatively. She
He
says it's gross.
he goes, "It was way before I knew you." And she's like, "Why would that matter?" Like, "Oh, don't act
He's
like
like,
it doesn't
it
bother
might,
you.
it doesn't, it may. Yeah.
Don't act like it doesn't bother you, Jules. Don't act like that." They had another moment? I love that.
All right. So in this scene, Sean figures out some information with Juliet. So we find out that it wasn't just Carl and Ted before. There was a third person in their little gang called, and his name was Moncrief Johnson. Uh, the problem is that he started using violence, and that's when Carl and Ted actually flipped on him. They were like witnesses to him like hurting somebody, and they think now that Moncrief is the one hunting him down. The case in the beginning where Carl as Santa got arrested was it involved somebody beating up Carl, and somebody else got hurt in it. Like the guy, the Krav Maga guy in the beginning that confessed to being the fighter in that, said that he was just protecting Santa, and he was, from this Moncrief Johnson guy that was there threatening him. And we think currently that Moncrief was the person who killed Ted at Santa's village. Now they're trying to get to Carl before Moncrief finds him. They have 37 minutes. We're in apparently Carl's apartment, and we see Santa digging through the fridge, and the guy comes up behind him, who we know is Moncrief, and it turns out that Lassie is in the Santa suit.
I love how he turned around and held his gun up and he was like, "Ho ho ho."
Yeah, I
That
mean
was a good line for Lassie.
yeah, he was he was cutting it close there. The guy was going in for the stab. I think you made the naughty list. But it ends with Moncrief being taken off in handcuffs for murder and attempted murder. And Brittany and Carl, say thanks.
Aw.
Or 39 minutes, 20 seconds. We're back at the Guster's house.
I love how that, like, at the end there, Sean goes to the door, but they all come together. Everybody's laughing again. They've all forgiven each other, but they did. Gus's dad is like, "You about the sleeping arrangements here, you don't have to go home, but you got to get out of here." Like, very clearly, you cannot stay here with this whole thing with my daughter. So Sean goes to Henry's house, where Henry's lodge buddies have left, and it's just the two of them. And here comes the tradition of the gift guess. Remember how they did this last year, where they have to guess what the gift is between the two of them? I love this part.
Yep, I like this tradition that they do.
And it's 41 minutes in. So
So Henry
oh,
pulls out his gift and sets it on the table. Sean pulls out his gift and sets it on the table, and they look exactly alike.
identical.
Henry says it's just a decoy and lifts up the fake box off top of the real box, and Sean follows suit. He then pulls the real present out from under the couch, and Sean does the same thing. And they're all wrapped exactly the same. So Henry got Sean an iPhone, and Sean got Henry an iPhone Psych, like, phone case.
I love it.
But you don't have an iPhone. I'll just take this. He is definitely the winner. That was
He
great.
seriously.
That
Henry
was
looks
funny.
all to pieces though. That was good. That was a good ending. Okay, Matt, tell us your general thoughts about this episode and how many pineapples you give it.
Christmas Joy. Well, this one, you know, I thought I liked it more than I did.
Okay.
There wasn't a ton of really funny jokes in it. There wasn't I don't think there was really a ton of bits. There was 1 or 2. We did get the introduction of our, Gus, being a sensitive crier or
Sympathetic crier.
sympathetic crier. And I do love that bit. That is one that sticks around. So I do like that, and I'm fairly certain this is the start of it.
Mhm.
But, I mean, I didn't really love the actress they got to play Joy. Um, I
I
don't
liked
have any
her
real
so
problems. I just didn't
yeah, I liked her.
think she really fit.
I liked her.
Um, or maybe it wasn't her, maybe it was just her story. I don't like whenever Sean and Gus are divided. I like them to be united and, on the same team, and
Mhm.
I didn't like that he was, like, hiding stuff from him, and yeah, just wasn't quite my thing. Um, so yeah, this one really I think I'll still end up giving it 3 because I do still enjoy watching the themed ones, but
Okay.
I don't know, I think the case was super interesting this time, and I didn't like that Sean and Gus were kind of either fighting or, Sean was hiding something from him. So I think I'm gonna go with 3 pineapples still, but it's just not my favorite. It's not as good as I remember. I was expecting it to start, I just didn't remember all the details, I don't think.
Okay. So I liked this episode. I had, I think, higher hopes for it because of John Landis directing it and coming off of Scary Sherry and American Duos. He tends to bring, I mean, I realize that it has to do with the writing as well, but I would agree with you that it's not as good as I wanted it to be. I didn't like the con men story with the kid. Like that part I don't love.
Yeah.
Um I liked that Sean and Jules had another moment. That's always a good thing for me. But we didn't get a lot of the Chief. We didn't get a lot of Lassie. We didn't get that much Henry. I mean, I guess there was some Henry, but I don't know. I tend to like the episodes more where everyone's sort of working together. I don't feel like they were all working together this time, really.
I don't even think Lassie
Um,
was really in this episode with the exception of, like, 2 parts where he
Very
was in there for
little.
a very short amount of time.
Yeah, just very minimal scenes with Lassie. I I'm going to go with 3 pineapples also. I wouldn't necessarily turn this episode off if it's on, but it's not one that I would go, "Ooh, I wanna watch some Psych. Let me figure out which episode I wanna see." I'm not jumping to it.
Mhm.
You
Okay.
know? I mean, I think
That's fair.
it's a good episode, but it's not a great episode.
Yeah.
I would also agree with you that we got all of the funny in, like, the first 5 minutes. There
Yeah.
was very little after that. They crammed everything into the first few minutes, but
Mhm.
that's okay. All right, so let's move on to our notable points. Matt, do you have an "Aw, yeah" moment?
I mean, I think the obvious "oh, yeah" moment here is the end with a gift exchange. When Sean, like, tosses him off not once, not twice, but 3 times and, clearly wins the exchange game. I think that's probably the "oh, yeah" moment.
Okay, for me, the "Aw, yeah" moment was more about the Sean and Jules addressing their little thing again. Like, they're like, they know
Oh,
when they're
yeah.
sitting there and they know what they're talking about,
Mhm.
and they address it, and then they're like, "Okay, we just need to move past this," and they just keep going. So I that was mine. What about a "Come on, son" moment?
Find out that Sean hooked up with Gus's sister.
I will agree, but there really, truthfully, could be 3. So, first one, finding out that they hooked up. Second one, finding out that Sean's dad didn't have a job and was lying to everybody. Third one was when Sean turned around when he was talking to the bookie and there was Gus's mom. That was kind of a come on, son. Like,
Eh,
come on.
I'm
Really?
not emotionally invested enough with them for that to be that significant to me, but
Okay.
Sean? It's his best friend. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. I could
Mm.
understand why, but for me, those ones don't weigh as much as, you know, bro code.
Okay. My wait for it moment is when they pull the gifts out at the end. That was kinda your "Aw, yeah" moment. My wait for it is like, "Okay, one of them is gonna win. How are we gonna do this?" When they pull the gifts out and set them on the table, that is my wait for it moment. Love that moment.
I'm trying to think about this one objectively as maybe the first time watching the episode, not knowing what's going to happen next time. And I imagine one of my wait for it's would have to be, is Joy going to be, are Joy and Sean going to, start something up?
Yeah.
Like throughout the episode? Like, is this the beginning of,
But see,
this being
now
a storyline?
there's
Because I could totally see that could have been a storyline where, you know, they juggle that relationship.
no,
Like,
no,
I don't
because
know.
now there's Jules. Now there's Jules. We cannot even think about that. We
But
cannot even think
yeah,
about
so
that.
I think I'm gonna go with that. Whenever I first saw it, that's probably what I would have called a wait for it.
All right. We've got Henry's lesson. Basically that things with the partner run deeper. I think
Mhm.
that's really the only thing is like, you
Don't
can't
betray your
it's
partner's
not a
trust, yeah.
regular friendship. Don't betray him, you know?
Yeah, we had 3 pineapples. We had the
Mhm.
pineapple in the gift box right at the beginning of the episode. We had the pineapple in the cake in the Guster's house on Christmas morning, and we also had a pineapple on top of the platter thing at Henry's house
Right.
for his Christmas party.
We had a silly nickname this time of Scrooge Jones for Gus.
Mhm. Also right in the beginning.
They
Uh,
like bam, 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 right in the beginning, yeah.
Favorite quotes. Mine's probably a mix up between children are sticky, or like I think children are sticky with Gus or Sean at the end. My second one is you can get as mad as you like as long as you use the same amount of time after working it out. This one was by Gus's mom at their makeup meal the next morning
Mhm.
after they all got back together and talked it out.
Those
So
are
I thought that
both
was really cool.
Yeah, those are both really good ones. I didn't have one, but I would stand behind either of yours. Both are really
Like
good.
this one, I could have seen even Henry saying. So
Mhm.
all
Yeah,
right, so
it
now
really
we get
good.
into pop culture references, and I don't think there really was any. I don't know, like 3? Like
There were
that's what I was thinking.
4. There were 4 actually.
Okay.
We'll move through them kind of quick here. So the first one we already sort of touched on a little bit. Felicia Rashad, who plays Gus's mom, she's most famous for her role as Claire Huxtable in The Cosby Show that ran from 1984 to 1992. The next one was the reference to the Kung Fu fighting song. That is a classic song by Carl Douglas from 1976. We also get a Woody Harrelson reference in this episode. He is a great actor, known for Cheers, True Detective, and so much in between. Movies, tons of movies. Now You See Me, Hunger Games, Zombieland, Will and Grace, and so many more. Still very, very busy at this point. He was in a movie that they referenced called Wildcats. That came out in 1986. It starred Goldie Hawn as a female football coach at an inner city high school, and Woody Harrelson was one of the players. So, yeah, funny movie, but that's it. That's all we had, unless I
Yeah,
missed
not a lot of
something. So,
references.
yeah, listeners, if I missed something, let us know. We would like to
All
know.
right. So next is how does this episode hold up over time? Do you want to go first?
Sure, I think it holds up over time. I don't think anything in particular dated it. Other than okay, the one thing that I would say is that the way that they said they would mail pictures to people's houses, certainly those would be emailed or printed out right on the spot now.
Hmm.
At Santa, that no one's mailing anything to anyone's house. It wouldn't work that way. So
Yeah,
I think
putting
that's
aside the tech
one
stuff,
thing.
I don't think there's any
Yeah.
topics or politics or anything like that. That would kind of date it
No.
either. I think this one played out very well.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, this one holds
So
up.
yeah. Next week, we will be discussing season 3, episode 9.
10.
I'm sorry. Next week we'll be discussing season 3, episode 10, and that episode is called 6 Feet Under the Sea.
Don't forget to check out our Facebook group and our subreddit. We post about each of the episodes that come out. Leave a comment there. Follow us if you prefer one of those. And just let us know if you have any questions about the episode that we did now, about future
Mhm.
episodes, anything, any thoughts or questions you have, send them over. We'll talk about them on the podcast.
Yeah, and if you prefer not to respond in one of those groups and want to email us directly, you can do that at thepsychpodcast@gmail.com. We
All
love
right.
all your comments, but in the over the next week or we love all your comments and your emails. They're super fun for us, and we love reading them on the episode. So send us whatever you got. And thanks for joining us this week. We hope you have a good week.
See you next time.
Bye, guys.